Okay, you're good.
All right. So we're ready to begin, everybody? Okay, all right. Welcome, everybody, to the August Zoom meeting of the Conway Historic District Commission. We're again in our virtual world here again for who knows how long, but we're going to go ahead and get through this one and see what we got. First thing we'll do is our roll call, and I will call everybody's names that they can say yay or nay, or don't say nay if you're not here. But anyway, if you're here, just say you're here. But I'm Steve Hurd, chairman, for those listening. Emily Walter.
Here.
Shelby Fiegel.
I'm here.
Okay, thank you. David Carolina. We're absent of David. Liz Hamilton.
I'm here.
And Taylor Martin.
Here.
And Margaret West.
Here.
All right. First thing we do have from last time, we have minutes that we were sent with our packet. If anybody has any questions about them or whatever, or wants to make a motion or whatever, just dispense with those first. So I'll leave it to you guys. If everybody's had a chance to look at them or whatever, but we need to take care of those and move on.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from July's meeting.
Okay, I got a motion for approval. We got Liz. Is that you, Liz?
Yes, I second.
All right, motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So we'll go on to our first hearing here. But we'll just for everybody listening that's queued up to be present their application. I will introduce the project, and if when you get on for your project, tell us who you are and your address here in Conway, and that's for the record that we do all the time. And then if you want to give us a little synopsis of what you're doing, we've got packets with information, and hopefully you've seen that packet. Those of you listening that are applying tonight, and we'll have questions. We'll move it around, and we'll at some point we'll bring it back to us. I'll also quiz James at the end of the applicant's presentation whether we had public input, and we'll react to that as we get it. If we had none, we go on. If we had positive or negative, we'll hear it and move from there. So with that said, first item we have is the accessory building modification at 1405 College Avenue, and we have that up on our screen. Do we have somebody here to speak for it?
Yes, we're here.
Okay.
This is Zach Hendricks and Bruce Hendricks.
Okay. All right. So just your name and address, just for the record, and then just tell us what we got going on here.
All right. I'll use my address. Zach Hendricks with Hendricks Remodeling. My address is 1103 Watkins Street. I guess
Okay.
our shop address, 1210 Hogan Lane.
That's fine.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. You're good.
You want to tell more about it?
Yeah, just a brief overview of what's going on. This is for the public record. We've got our copies of stuff, but just give us an overview, and we'll discuss from there.
Well, Mr. Gendrich called us, and he had several things going on. One is he didn't like the way the barn shape looked, and it's been there for a lot of years, maybe 30 or 40 years, and it's also failing on the underside of the part where the cars are. It's sagged down about 5 or 6 inches, and they've had various methods of trying to prop it up over the years. So he wanted to rework the roof part. The sides are made out of an I-beam on top of posts, and they will stay. And we're just going to, the idea is to make it look more like the house and the surrounding area that's there. And the reasoning behind the steep pitch roof is if there's a building in the back, well, they're all attached. It's all kind of one building, but there's a different roof on the back. And it has it's an odd hip shape. And it's also the rafters are the ceiling. So he doesn't want to mess with that room. He didn't want to spend the money on tearing the roof off of that room and the ceiling out of that and rewire it and all that. So we designed this in-house, and it matches the pitch of that hip roof in the back. And so it's a nice little design. And So the posts and everything are still there. The beams are still there. We're just going to basically put a new roof on and framework that's safe. It'll be trusses.
Sure. Well, I mean, the existing columns you just see the steel columns existing, right?
Yeah, they're going to stay. They're just going to
I
cut.
know, but I mean, you're beefing up the column look too, as well.
Yes, I'm beefing them up. We're beefing them up.
Okay. Well, do y'all have anything more to say to that? Either one of you got Mr. or Mr. Hendricks?
No, I think that pretty well covers it.
And that's good. I mean, I'm not trying to get anything out of you. I just, James, do we have any public input on this project?
But we do not.
Okay. Okay. With that said, then we'll discuss it. You know, we may have some questions for you guys. So let's, hang on there. And I want to say I've driven past this property. I've been here 28 years. Every day when I drive by there, it's been there. That little barn, that gambrel roof it didn't never fit. So to me, just personal opinion, design wise, I think it works. And I think if you look in the reading, all of the different items that it's if you built it new from scratch, it wouldn't go, but it's been there. It's just they're just refurbishing what's there, so it doesn't have to adhere to any of the zoning problems that it would come across otherwise. So I mean, it's just nothing better what's there, is my opinion. But anybody else want to say anything or add anything to that?
No, I don't have any discussion. I'll actually motion to approve with the staff recommendation. So Mr. Hendricks, did you all see that as far as the mechanical equipment goes, it was going to be placed in a spot to minimize the view?
Yes, we have a question about that. What mechanical
Okay.
are you referring to?
Just if there is any, it's not, it's one of the boilerplate ones that if you're going to have any, make sure it's just not, it's not out in the driveway or something like that. But that's
Okay.
Oh,
That's,
yeah.
no problem.
That's
yeah.
fine.
If you don't have any, it's not a problem. It's not a discussion. But
Cool.
Yeah, so like I said, I motion to approve with that recommendation. Excuse me, my voice is going out.
You're right. Motion. We have motion for approval.
I'll second that motion.
All right, Tato, have motion and second. Any more discussion? Anybody? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, thank you guys. That's fine. James will deal with the COA that it'll be available, I guess, tomorrow, James.
Yeah, we'll get that issued.
Okay, so permit can come with that and you'll be good to go. All right.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item up is exterior modifications in addition to 2009 Caldwell. We have, I think I saw Nikki gave us a comment, although she's here. Are you available, Nikki? Are we hearing?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, I'm here.
Okay. All right, just your name and address, like what you've done many times.
Okay.
And then,
Nikki Thompson, 2759 Carl Stewart.
okay. All right, give us a little synopsis of what you got going here.
Okay, so the big thing I'm asking for is I'm wanting to do an addition off the back. Currently it's a 3-1, and so I'm wanting to add on a master bath and closet. To the front, I'm really just wanting to clean it up, take the dinky shutters off, power wash, put a new front door. It'll be in the same spot. I was asking if I could do a new window on the front. I truly can take it or leave it. It's just it's kind of an ugly window. So
Which
I know
window?
y'all
The one on
like
the
to keep them, but
which window, Nikki?
not the feature window, but yes, that one right there.
The one. Okay, I got you.
It's
Right.
just an old aluminum window,
Yeah.
and it's just prominent in a prominent spot. So if I could replace one, that would be the one I'd like to replace.
Yeah.
And then also on the front, I want to take down the metal, posts. And then I would like to, it's all rotted underneath and over on the right by the chimney. the porch is just rotted. I would like to replace that with some wood underneath, and then have it waterfall down the side on the right over there by the chimney.
I have a question on that. So will the front porch be walled in on 3 sides when you get through? I'm not real clear on that.
Okay, yes, I guess it would be.
Okay.
Your 3 sides being the door, the window wall, and then, yes, over there by
The west side of it.
mm-hmm.
Are you wanting to put columns back?
No,
Okay.
I'm wanting to just take them off, and it'll just have that
Okay.
feature from the ceiling down onto the right side.
Okay, good. Then we won't be arguing tonight.
Okay.
Because those columns were there were salesmen running around in the 60s, maybe late 50s, telling all the wooden columns were rotting, so put these up, and those I'm sure came from a slick salesman, and there
Okay.
probably were no columns there at all to begin with.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't want columns.
Okay.
And then I'm also wanting to take that lean-to off.
The lean-to.
Mm-hmm. The carport. I don't think it's not a carport because there's no room to get under it. Yes, that right there.
Oh, okay. That was probably added at some point, wasn't it? I mean, that's not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So we'd end up with the east elevation just clean like it is on that drawing right below it.
Yes. So in that drawing, it shows that I'm removing a window. So in the back where I'll be busting through to do the addition, I'll use that brick to fill in the window. So currently, if you go back down, keep going right there. If you look under the current lean-to, you can kind of see there's another, there you go, that window. I'm going to close that one in.
Okay.
Why are you closing that one in?
It's going to be, there's going to be cabinets there. I'm extending my kitchen.
Is there room to put just lower cabinets under that window?
No, the windows are too low. You
I
can
can see that window go. It's pretty big, and
Yeah,
it's a small window. You can't see it. The post is blocking it. The one you see, I'm keeping.
Is it
It's
the same size as the other small one to the right there?
no, it's as tall as it's like a single of the double that you see in the elevation below.
Right.
It's like a single.
That little single one down the way, though, is it like that? Is it that size?
No, because it's as tall as the one.
Oh, I got you.
You see what I'm
okay.
saying? So that other one is currently in the kitchen, and I'm going to keep it.
Okay.
And a countertop, will go under it. It's a normal kitchen sink. And I'm going to utilize the window that I'm leaving as a banquette, so it'll be incorporated into the kitchen too. But to keep that other window would interfere with the layout, the kitchen layout.
I think personally, if taking it out and replacing with existing brick, that's in my opinion, that's kind of a clean, as opposed to Margaret, if we made them do another window shorter to match that other one on the right, I think it'd look more jumbled doing that because the windows wouldn't necessarily match. I'm not saying it's losing a window and it's not the greatest, but it's not going back with some odd material that's not there or that we have to have now. It's using existing brick. I mean, it's kind of I'll say it's kind of the best of what we could get out of doing something there. Personally, from a design side. So it doesn't. I mean, it'd be great to leave everything less like it is, but I'm not sure it's a horrible thing to lose. And it's down the side of the building. I know we're losing the the overhang that any shadow, you now probably see it better, but I'm not sure how that affects the overall by losing that. I'll fight for other ones to get taken out, but that one I'm not sure it's as much of a fight I think as we need.
I have a question about the waterfall. You know how you're going to waterfall that roof line? What is that going to look like? I mean, is it going to be wood?
Wood. Yes, I'm wanting to add in a cypress, just a clear cypress, just to kind of give it a little bit more of that mid-century vibe.
Is it going to be like horizontally laid or vertically laid?
Horizontal.
And I'll throw my 2 cents in about the window replacement in the front. I don't mind this single one because I feel like that's going to accent the other window a lot more, right? Like,
Which window are you talking about?
well, she's saying that she wants to take out the left window and just do a single pane. Am I understanding that right?
Yes.
And I kind of like, I kind of like it because the grids don't fight with the center window now.
And I was hoping just, to do, like a single, or even fixed glass, because there's another window in there for egress in that bedroom.
Would you be raising the sill up of the window? Because am I seeing on the elevation of the picture, the photo, it looks like it goes down almost to the floor.
It almost does.
So you're raising the sill of it with this?
I know I would just keep the same, existing hole.
Okay.
And I'm truly, I could take it or leave it. I think it would look better to replace the window, but I mean, if I need to save money to not replace it, I will.
I guess my thoughts, not to argue with you, Emily, but it going from something that's divided and that big of a hole and that kind of a little small space, it's going to be this kind of a big dead hole without some trim, without the mullions, and it's going to look commercial, and that on a commercial building is fine, but that's what is done. But even if I were doing this, something like this, it was a little clinic or something, I want a window that big, I'd put mullions in it because it's such a big expanse of.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
So I would argue against changing it if if that's a fight we're not going to have and you're fine to keep it. Let's go on.
I truly am. I've got to look for ways to save money, so
sure.
I'm okay to keep that one.
I can't speak to the condition of the window obviously from here, but if it can be cleaned up and serve a lot of windows from that era, if that's original, they're letting air through, but
they're not. I mean, they're not the wood. They're they seem like relatively cheap windows.
Okay.
And I more than anything, I had someone looking at it as they were looking at possibly buying it from me, and that was a concern for them. And so I just thought I'll go ahead and throw it on the application.
Sure. Okay. I think it's another of not very many, but it's another of kind of as much original as we can feature of the house, and it'd be a shame to have it look like, because you wouldn't it wouldn't be a window you necessarily see in all the time. It's going to just be this big blank.
Right. Well, just for what ifs, because that person ended up not wanting the house, but what is a scenario if I could replace that window? I'm fine to have some kind of pattern. What would y'all approve there?
It's not a double hung window, right? Is it just fixed with the mullions?
I think so.
Okay. I don't know.
And again, I'm great to keep it, and I can just say, hey, I wasn't allowed to change it. But if I've got someone who says, I really want to change this window,
or use it as a marketing tool. It's an original window. It goes with the house. I mean, I'm being a little silly, but at the same time, it's going to be hard for it to look like it goes with anything else you do. A regular double hung window or a pair of them that's still going to not match that style. This is it's in a very big house, but it's a very
Right.
big style house for that
Absolutely.
era.
Yeah.
And it's a handsome little house for that era, and
Mhm.
we don't have many like that around.
Right. No,
And
I'm thrilled.
to kind of start poking away at it. I'm moderately leery of the waterfall thing, but I'm not. That's not a. It doesn't kill it for me. I'm okay with that. Just as we talk about design parts, but that just some reason that window would kind of deaden that front if it went to anything but broken up like it is. And I don't know if they're trying to line up. If those mullions line up with on that big porch, that might have been an attempt, but I can't tell from here with the picture.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. We don't need to. We can move on. I'll just keep that window.
Okay. All right.
I will say, like you said, you're moderately leery about the waterfall. I'm very leery about it, to be honest with you. Whenever I heard that somebody was buying this, I thought, oh my gosh, I hope they don't change. It's such a unique house, and it's one of a kind. And I'm not crazy about changing it.
Liz?
Okay, so let me just say that when I saw that the house was up, that something was happening to it, I was like, oh, I hope it's Nikki. And so I know that if anybody's going to do this house justice, it's going to be down in Storybrooke. I mean, I know that the waterfall might be a little bit intimidating, but I feel like it fits with the time frame that the house was originally built, and it also will fit in updating the neighborhood and kind of giving a fresh vibe to what is already a really rich street, I think, in Conway. So I'm all for it. I speak highly about Nikki and her work and all the things that she says about this house. I'm excited about.
Okay. Well, Emily, I kind of lean towards Liz a little bit on that opinion. I don't. The two parts that could change on the front of this house. One is the window. One is the waterfall thing. If the waterfall is there, it's continuing a shape, a flavor, if you will, that's there. It's as opposed to putting a little handrail at the end, just so a porch rail that defines the porch, which could be done and not look like it's supposed to. That's not totally, in my opinion, I think Liz too, not out of line. We're breaking that window out there and put something that's contemporary now would look really out of place. I feel, in my opinion, when we vote, we'll see, but my opinion is that waterfall is it's in the appropriate range of continuing the design style.
I agree. I mean, that's why I was asking what direction it was going to face. I mean, I agree with all of it. I just,
Well, no, we need to make sure. I mean, we don't want to say okay on something and we've had that happen where we didn't quite understand what was happening and it comes back to haunt us. But I think we're on the same page. Does everybody agree?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
And this may be a stupid question. I'm just not sure. Okay, when you say waterfall, are you talking about an actual waterfall, or is this a term for something else?
Yes, just a term for something else. So the wood, and I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time describing it, but the wood will clad the porch ceiling in that same monoslope that's currently there. And then it will just continue down the side on the right.
Okay, gotcha.
Margaret, it'll be, if you look at the front at that porch, I can't scroll. Keep trying to scroll the drawings. The porch that's there now with the columns, but on the left side of it, it angles up, then it turns sharply down. She's going to basically at the other end angle down and turn sharply down with structure, with a wall. Is that right?
In that picture to the left where you see the two metal columns, it's almost like I'm going to run horizontal panels across those. So it'll just waterfall to the ground.
I wouldn't mind. I mean, if it's not too much trouble to see a clearer drawing of that. Is it showing up and we're not seeing it in the drawing?
Well, I attempted and I don't think it made the drawing or this form. I attempted to, and then the draftsman, that is his attempt. I can try to find something like on Pinterest, but I don't know. I think I've just seen it in my head. It looks really good in my head.
I have lots of good in my head
Nikki,
too. But,
I guess the best way to see it is on above where it shows the front elevation of the house with that draft drawing. You can see where the roof runs, and then the same material is used like to drop down kind of to make a wall. So
Yeah.
it's in the draft. I just think, like you said, it's not coming to life the way that
Right,
we probably want
right.
it to.
Well,
Yeah,
and the only
based
thing that I
on
worry about that is, especially if we're
little-
taking the
yeah, that
wood to the ground, is that we make sure that the wood is, and this is my detailing coming to light, make sure that the wood is not put in jeopardy when it comes in contact with moisture and stuff. So
Okay.
that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I thought about that.
This is crude, but can we see that? Is that what you're talking about doing, Nikki?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yep.
They see that? That bold line, the bold thickness, that's the roof going down, and she's gonna then, this is what's here, that's there, and she's gonna
That's
turn
exactly
all
it.
down that way. Is that right?
Yep, that's exactly it.
Okay. You're welcome.
That didn't seem too hard.
Okay. Are we, is everybody clear on that? I mean, I can show you that picture again, but that's what I was seeing. I'm glad to know it's what it is. Okay.
Nikki, I wanted to clarify. So you're not proposing any columns on the front?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's what I was going to clarify too, James. So that eliminates
Number
the
two.
staff recommendation too,
Yeah.
because there's no new columns.
Yeah. Let's take it off just so it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I make a motion to approve with staff recommendations with the exception of, I guess, striking option, recommendation number 2?
Right.
No, not 2. Hang on, I got switched.
That's number 2.
But the column recommendation.
That's number
That's
2.
2.
You're right.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Well then,
Nick-
yes, I make a motion to approve.
Okay. All right. Have a motion.
I'll second that motion.
I got a motion and a second for that amended recommendation list. Just real quick, Nikki, you've seen the recommendations, correct?
Yes. I mean, I had questions too, because I wondered if they were for me because of the columns. But I think everything else, and then I'm not doing number 4, the window to be I'm not replacing a window on the right elevation. I was filling it in.
True. Shelby, you want to amend your, because she's not replacing the windows, she's taking it away.
Yeah, that would be Liz.
I'm sorry, Liz.
Yes,
I'm sorry, Liz.
I would like to amend it appropriately. So striking recommendation number 2,
And
and then you said the window on the right is option number or recommendation number 4.
right, that's not
That's
necessary.
right.
Is that right? Right. So without that one.
Okay, so your amended amendment to the recommendations is delete number 2 and number 4.
Mhm.
Yes,
Correct?
exactly.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
And thank you, Nikki.
I will second the amended motion.
Okay, well, I think we're still in discussion and we're just amending it again. Everybody, if first and seconds are good for it, then we're good to go, right? First and seconds are? Taylor and you and Liz. All right. With that, we will vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
any opposed?
I'm opposed, but please don't take it personal.
Okay.
It's not, no, it's not. Don't
I
look at
can preface it, Nikki. This is not personal at all. It's just
Fine. I'm gonna win you over.
it's all right. It's all
Stay
good.
tuned.
it's literally my favorite house in the whole city.
I hear you. I'm so excited about it.
And I'm so excited you're doing it. So this one, do not take it personal. And I agree with what Liz said. I love everything about it. I can't.
I hear you. I hear you.
We're all on happy clouds now. That's all right. Thank you, Nikki. Well,
Okay.
James,
I'm good.
Yes, you're good.
Okay. Thank y'all.
All right. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Okay. All right. Now we have up next exterior modification to 1824 Bruce Street, and I don't know who is here to speak for that.
I'm here, Julianne Weeks.
Okay. And if you give us your name, or you gave us your name, your address, where you live. if
All
that's-
right. Well, our address is PO Box 26 in Conway, and this is for
Let's
the-
do a street address.
Well, then it's 1824 Bruce Street.
Okay, that's fine. Didn't know you were living at the house. That's fine. Okay.
All right, so the exterior modification, I think you guys have probably all taken a look at it. What we're here tonight, I guess, to talk about is the windows that we are going to be replacing and moving the front door to the right, the original front door.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you replacing the windows?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. They are pretty deteriorated and they are not energy efficient at all. And I'm at this point, it's just the back and part of the side.
Okay. When you say deteriorated, what is that? Have you had anybody look at them to repair them at all?
Yes, and part of it has to do with the interior remodeling of the house. Just when I had the architect do the new plans, we needed to make some changes on the window locations.
Mm-hmm.
I drove over there today and I didn't notice any deterioration on the outside. So that's why I was curious as to why you were changing them. They're just so pretty.
They are pretty. Well, that's one. None of them are being changed that you see from the street or the driveway.
That side is pretty visible though.
Well, I don't know if you're looking at, so the pink is where all the original windows are staying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's the driveway side and the front of the house.
Okay.
Yeah, to clarify, the driveway is on the right side of this drawing.
Oh, the floor plan. Okay. Windows are a discussion point, but also just to add in there, why is the door moving 2 feet?
Well, it's really moving over a little. It's moving over as far as basically the size of that door. It's 30 or 36 inches. It's just to center it, and also with the floor plan modifications, it better fits in the room.
Is the plan that I'm seeing that has, is that the floor plan that's going to be built? That's going to be what you'll have as far as, is that be up against a wall I'm seeing, or is that exist?
Yeah. Well, let me go back and let me see the picture. Yes, it'll be to the right of the wall, so it opens onto the wall.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It just seems to change the front of it, which is it's a handsome house, and then just to move it, scooch it over less than 2 or about 2 feet or so is just I don't know. That's a lot of suffering for a little bit of floor plan thing inside.
Well, the floor plan, there's kind of an entry. It's still an open room.
Right.
In fact, we're adding kind of like some craftsman little columns there to the left, and it makes it more livable.
Okay.
Because what you're actually seeing there is on that floor plan is not the floor plan. That's where some of the original walls are right now.
That's what I was asking. I couldn't tell.
Yeah, sorry, I'm looking at that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I not to bounce back and forth, but back to the windows and energy efficiency. If that was our criteria, we'd have to rip out every window in town, in old part of Conway. But and they can be repaired and be very efficient. The single pane doesn't mean anything as far as efficiency. But have you considered like storm windows? And I don't mean big clunky aluminum storm windows, but I know there's a couple of different people in town that actually will make those, and they're priced very competitive with even just replacing windows.
Right.
Your windows knives,
Right. So I don't know if you can see the back. There's a picture of the back of the house, and this house has double hungs and casements.
Mm-hmm.
The double hungs are actually in great shape.
Right.
The casements on the back of the house, part of that is a floor plan change as well, where you have the little bitty short windows that was over a kitchen sink, and that's not going to be a kitchen anymore.
Is that the photo? I see a photo with, there's a dumpster in the foreground. Is that ones there?
No, those are all staying. All the ones you see with the dumpster are staying.
The picture with the 4 little windows.
Well, okay, so in the back, it's the back of the house that you can kind of see where a deteriorate kind of a carport is.
Yeah, it's our first picture at the upper left.
Yes, that's the one.
I got you.
Okay, so those 4 windows underneath it, under the carport, were over a kitchen sink, and that's not going to be a kitchen anymore. So we're putting larger windows there to open toward the back. This has a beautiful lot in the back, and you really can't see it right now from the back of the house. And then to the left of those little windows, the casements right there, I mean, part of that's going to be a master bedroom, and it just has to do with the floor plan on the interior. So this is the back of the house.
Okay.
To reiterate, nothing's changing on the front of the house. And then where you see the dumpster, that's the driveway side. None of those windows are being changed.
You're adding one though, right? A little one?
We're adding a little one to match those other 2 little windows.
Okay, but now as you see the recommendations that we will need to be, or somewhere we're talking about, I guess in the discussion of thing, doors and windows, that they'll need to be true divided light like those, as opposed to the fake little snap-in things that.
Right. Okay. So I had a little offside discussion about this with James, because I saw that recommendation. And so I went back to what was listed in the ordinance and the design pattern book. And actually the windows that I had recommended in my application that I'm wanting to use, the Marvin windows, those were listed as a suggested window in the back of the pattern book. So those are the ones I want to use.
Okay.
Well, and let me just add that to the simulated divided lights, those are the ones that apply to the outside. Like we just went through this exercise that we're building a house here in West Conway as well, and it was either grid between glass, which is like the stuff we don't want to see. The alternate was like a simulated divided light, and so that actually has, I mean, it's not individual panes of glass between each piece of grill, like it was originally built, but it still has the appearance and like the shadow lines on the outside of the glass.
Sure.
Yes, it does. There's
it's more accurate than
lights, and these even have the spacer bars that I upgraded to even look more authentic.
Okay, well, good. That's
yeah. I mean, I think that's I support that. I feel like that's as far as we can go without her having to fabricate.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
And I can confirm all of that.
That's fine. That's fine. I again, knowing that, in our write up, it was talking about the snap-in things, and that's, you clarified, and that's fine. But I guess
from y'all's perspective, those simulated divided light, those when we say that would meet the intent of the ordinance, I mean that's the way we're reviewing that.
Okay. And I would, between the 2, simulated with the spacer, I'd prefer the spacer, just because it is. And I don't, what the difference in price is, but that's about as close as you can get without expecting the high-end, full-blown, authentic divided light.
Right. And yes, I am upgrading to the spacer bar, and it's in this picture that he has up there. It looks stainless. It's not. It'll be, it will look. They're not stainless. You can get them either black or painted the color of.
I was going to say, I thought normally I saw black just because it black just like a shadow. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't expect you to do stainless anyway. Okay. I guess I know casement windows historically go south quicker than double hung, just because the nature of them. Now, are you gonna go back with casements, or are you gonna go And I may have missed that if it said that in the.
Right. No, so in the back of the house where that line of casement, the large casement windows, those are going to be 2 double hungs.
Okay.
And then where the little casements are, those are also going to be double hungs with the same grid pattern as the rest of the double hungs on the house.
Okay. And again, to pick at that a little bit, are they the windows that you got existing? They've got some nice delicate mullions and muttons in those things. Is that what you're going to be able to replicate that size? Are they going to be a bit thicker? Do you know? I'm sharpening.
They're 7/8. They're going to look like this.
Right. No, that's good. That's fine. I just, again, sometimes that detail gets overlooked when you order them, and also you got these some that are can be 1.5 inches or something, kind of big and clunky. So that's fine. Not a problem. Okay. Well, again, I kind of echoing Liz a little bit too, in that where the windows are going, the type we're getting better than what I thought was being proposed. So that's a plus. It's what we try to get from people anyway. If they're going to have divided lights, I'm okay with that being on the off side and back side of the house. I guess there's a point at which we can't. I still have a problem with the door moving, but just because it's such a tiny movement, and it's just, I don't know, it's just that one bothers me. But the windows, I feel better about in general. I'm not going to say I'm totally for taking them out and replacing them, but I'm better about it than I was. Margaret, I know that was your first question was about the windows. Where are you at on it still?
I like original windows, but you know me.
And nobody doesn't like original windows, but still,
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
I'm trying to put in the best ones you can buy out there for historical renovation.
Yeah.
I actually don't have that much problem with that door moving over because it will line up more centered on those steps than it does now.
I prefer symmetry and just the way that like I said, the interior floor plan of having a bigger living space. It's just more practical. I have looked around in Conway and these craftsmen, some are offset like this, some are centered. I mean, there's
right, and there's
both way.
No right or wrong. It's not quite centered between the windows on the porch, and it's definitely not centered on the opening of the porch steps. So one could look at that and go, what the heck? But
what were they thinking?
Yeah, and I live in a 107-year-old house where the door is off centered at the porch, and it occurs to me every once in a while that it could have been moved a little bit. But that's I'm not gonna move it, but I'm not. That's not part of the discussion. I mean, I guess again, when the first thing you see something like that's moving, oh God, what the material is going to be, but you're going to go back with siding like it or.
Yes, I actually have enough siding of this original. Somebody else in Conway had an entire house remilled and it matches this teardrop siding. And I'm getting all the leftovers. So I'll have enough to use the same, it's going to match. And even on the back, I'm taking off that aluminum siding. And I'm going to have enough to put back.
Well, just for your information, you can buy that new still. You can, there's a couple locations in town and one in Morrilton and one at least in Little Rock. You can get it, they have it in their warehouse.
Okay.
Is
it hardy board or is it just the wood?
Wood. It's wood.
Yeah.
You can specify the higher, like knot free, and that costs more than the stuff with knots, but the knots fall out, so.
Right.
No, you can, it's still, I built a little garage building 6 months ago and I bought all new siding to match my house, which is just like that. So.
Okay.
Just for your information, it's available, a couple different, 3 different places locally. So.
All right. That's good to know.
Okay. All right. I think I'm good. Anybody else have any other questions or thoughts or concerns?
Well, I have a question.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, the door's not part of the recommendation. So does the city just automatically approve the move of that door?
I would say we could add it since it's a thing that they're in the write-up, it might have been, I don't know, James, was it left off or what, but we ought to at least acknowledge it in the recommendations. I mean, if we were against it, we'd acknowledge it. Why not do it if we're for it, you know?
Well, that's my question. Like, I kind of fall with you, Steve. Like, I'm not, I'm opposed to it. So I don't know how we're going to do a motion. That's all I'm asking.
Let me clarify. I'm not just dead opposed to it. I just, at the start, didn't see any sense in it. I'm not saying I'm totally for it. I'm not totally against it either. So I don't have to vote until there's a tie. So, you're on your own.
Thanks.
I'm just here.
Really, I think I'm confused with what you're asking. So, I mean, in the proposal, she requests to adjust the location of the door.
Right. And it doesn't show up in the recommendations. Usually they'll address the things that are going to change. And I don't know, James, if that just got left off or if it doesn't matter.
No, it's usually only when we have a condition for approval. So we didn't list that as a condition, that anything about it that was in the review. I'll have to say this I'm constantly battling. I did not review this one, but Levi did. I am constantly battling when we review things to remember that preservation is not necessarily the driving goal of the overlay district.
Right.
It is design. When
you
do see a remarkable house like this, it does. I mean, when I sent an email to Julianne about the windows, I said, man, when I drove up and I saw the wavy glass, it just made me, I was just really excited to see it because it was just so beautiful in some of the detailing on this. But as it relates to the house, to the door, our guidelines with those aren't necessarily as stringent as they would be in Robinson. So that's how we reviewed it.
That's a good reminder.
Yeah. So if unless we're opposed to it and have, want that to be part of the thing, it's just part of what she's doing to the house.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not saying just ignore it, Emily, and go on, but and I think James, the point he made too, that it's design and we're keeping the house. I mean, that kind of thing. A lot of times it gets muddled up big time, but I can, if we hold on to everyone that's in this shape, which is, it's in wonderful shape, it's a beautiful house. If we hold on to them with a death grip, that maybe one day we'll be that far with the ACP Robinson district, and it could be a contributing structure. Little modifications like a door moving won't kill it at that time if that ever happens. And I'm not holding my breath to get more ACP Robinson to get bigger, anytime soon, without a plan. So that's what I've always looked at. A lot of these that are still intact and in really great shape, that, gosh, if we ever got bigger on the ACP Robinson side, it would be a contributing structure. But
I'll say even in this particular area, in its own right, there's a little group of structures in there that are all nice.
Right. There's a little peer pressure right along in that area anyway, but at the same time, it's a nice little enclave that could someday be part of this. And I don't think we're not hurting anything by letting the door move over 2 feet. There's been worse things that have been okay still with historic references and all. So
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What is that 3-sided concrete structure without a roof at the back?
Well, that when we bought the house, the roof was caved in on it. It was a garage.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So we just cleaned it up.
Now it's a big dumpster enclosure.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you have plans to stucco over the concrete block or anything?
We have no plans for that at this time. We're really just focusing on the house.
Okay.
And cleaning up the lot. I don't know if you guys noticed, it's a huge lot. On the survey, it's really a double lot.
Yeah, it's a monster. It's deep.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, guys, I'm not trying to cut it short, but you got any more questions or concerns? And if not, we can.
Yeah, if we don't have any more questions, I'm gonna motion to approve with staff recommendations.
Okay.
Can I have one more question though? I do want to understand the sidewalk. I love sidewalks. I grew up on Robinson Street in the old Gordy house. I grew up in that house. So I love old houses. I love sidewalks. This side of the street does not have sidewalks. And if you look at the slope and where the utility poles are, I can't put in a sidewalk there. And even if I did, it would be a sidewalk to nowhere because there's no sidewalks on any of the other houses on that block on that side of the street.
Okay. Shelby, hold on. We'll get back to your motion. James, you want to address that?
And then my other question in addressing that is that just a little confusion when I read the write-up about sidewalks. So I just want to be clear about this because I think other people might have this question too. So I get it. The way it's worded about sidewalks is if new construction, you put in the sidewalk or, you pay the fees.
Mm-hmm.
But then it says if you do an addition, you're not subject to this. So then I was a little confused. I'm like, so if I came in here and I just said I'm building an addition on this house, I wouldn't be subject to it. But because I'm doing windows, I am. So I just need a little clarification on the way it's written up.
We'll have to let James help you out on that one.
Yeah, it is an error. So number 2 should be struck, and number 3 on that last part of the sentence should read shall feature divided lights.
Okay. We got that. Shelby, you hear that?
Let me read this back one more time, Julianne, for you and for us. So I'm going to motion again. We'll disregard what I said before. So my motion now is approving with staff recommendations as follows. 1, materials for the addition shall be used that are consistent with the materials of the existing structure. Wood or the fiber cement siding is acceptable. We'll strike staff recommendation 2 for the sidewalks because that was an error. And then number 3, which will now become number 2, the windows that will be replaced shall feature true divided lights.
No, not true divided lights. It's simulated divided lights.
Divided lights, excuse me.
Yeah.
I should have.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I mean, we don't need to do it. James, I'm asking this. Do we need to say as approved by staff, or is that complicated?
She's got the Marvin SDLs in the application. So
okay, then we're fine. That's what you said, Shelby, should stand. How you said that.
I apologize for saying true. I just didn't erase that from my notes.
You're fine. Okay, so we have a motion as delineated by Shelby. And do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, have a second from Emily. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Well, you're done for the evening.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Julianne, I will get you the COA. Are y'all intending to sell this house?
Not at this point. No, we bought it for ourselves, but we don't live we're not living in Conway right now. So
Okay, it was just personal curiosity.
yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Next item we have is the new single-family residence on 517 5th Street. Do we have anyone here to speak to that?
Yes, we're here. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Yes, I'm Holly Strangland. We would like to build a
let me interrupt you. I'm sorry. I apologize. I got to do your address where you live. If it's at 3035 Crawford, that's fine.
Yes, 3035 Crawford here in Conway.
Okay. All right. Continue.
Yeah, we bought this property and it had an old home that had been burned. It was uninhabitable and dangerous to there with kids close by. So the house has been removed. We would like to build a single family home. It's a 32, it's about 1,316 square feet, something like that, like right under 1,400 square feet. We think would be a good size to fit into this neighborhood. We've read the recommendation, so we have some questions.
Okay.
Kind of some confusion. I don't quite understand the garage issue. It's a side entry. You can't really tell from the front of the house on the elevation view that there's a garage there. You would only be able to see it because of the driveway.
Well, I will say just from design and layout with the garage up front, side entry or front entry, you're going to have a whole lot of concrete. You know, first off, right there, you're going to have a big apron to turn into the garage and back out and go on, and wide, more than likely wide driveway coming up to it. When they're set back, like, you know, a multitude of homes historically have had, if they had a garage or a carport in the back, that it was a narrow driveway back to where things were parked. So it's while it's still, the garage is there out front, but you're right, the door is on the side. But we're also, what comes with that is this, you know, a large landing strip and pad that we're trying to, you know, those exist. It's just, you know, a lot of them exist all before we came along, as far as trying to go back to, or at least maintain, the neighborhood that's been historically around. And you know, they're built a lot, you know, out West Conway, lots of subdivisions. That's what they've got. But we're trying to hold to a kind of the historic standard with that. So back, you know, halfway back of the house or further, and it could be drive straight into it, but you start out with a narrow driveway and get back to the pad further back. And that's one of the reasons that we push it back, is to keep all that concrete and all, you know,
Well, a lot of the homes in the area don't have garages. They have concrete parking pads, tons of concrete. Some of them, the concrete is the front yard.
right.
And I get, you know, trying to make changes, but this is going to be one of the first new constructions in this entire area over there, and in probably a good several years. It's just not a place that a lot of new construction takes place in.
And I understand that, and I applaud you for, you know, wanting to build something. But this, if we've got the standards that we have, that we have for the area, that we were, if we'd have been here when the houses started getting built, that were, you know, what you might not say is appropriate, or just kind of, you know, not what was there historically, that it wouldn't be a discussion. But we're trying, you know, we're here to not keep it going, if you will. And you know, we've had several people come to us with a front facing garage, or a garage on the front of the house like this, and move it to the side, and it's not, or to the back, and it's, you know, it's not impacted either selling it or dealing with it. And it's something that we see it as a bonus for the neighborhood. If you know, that's built, the next one's built the, you know, similar way, similar fashion, it starts improving the neighborhood in that way. So that's how we look at it too. So
So if we were able to take this same house plan and put the garage in the back, currently what's at the back would be a master bedroom, and put that bedroom at the front, then this would all be good. Because I have another question about a comment that was made about the front facade should be redesigned to make the front porch and front door the focal point of the structure. So, I mean, we can move the garage to the rear of the property, or behind the halfway point, center point of the house. But I don't quite understand what the front facade to be redesigned. You should have also had a color photo of the proposed house too. It was not in this packet, but I emailed it on Friday, and Beth said she was going to make sure.
It was emailed. James emailed it to. I got it. I'm assuming everybody else got it too.
Okay.
But we did get it. And I mean, again, it was a color version of what you got. I mean, so it didn't. It's still,
yeah, it's the same thing. It's just a color version, and you can usually tell a little bit more from it from color.
Oh, sure. No, you're right. It shows it better, but still, and I don't know that comment about the porch being a prominent feature. That's there's so many versions of that could be done. It's not, you know, we're not trying to design it, but just, you know, point you in a direction, if you will. So it's, you know, you take that garage away and you got a bedroom up there. If it's set out in front still like the garage is, then there, you know, the porch is, it's becoming like a typical subdivision home where the front door is down a little dark chute or set back far enough where it's not, the front is not relevant, or not a street view of a house that you know, that's traditional, whatever. And I mean, having the bedroom out there is fine, but it's that the secondary thing on the front of the house becomes the entry, and that's I don't know. I mean, we're just again trying to get away from that trend that's been going on for a long time. You drive down any new construction street, new subdivision, and that's all that it is, you know. But then there's some neighborhoods that the you know, they've come around, and there's some design guidelines for new neighborhoods that have, you know, front porches and you know, either, you know, side driveway or garage or setback or whatever. And they've some neighborhoods have gone to that whole idea of the front being a feature instead of a setback and in a dark hole. So we're trying to do what was always done on houses of the era of this significant era of construction in our town, which was back 20s, 30s, kind of for that area over there. And that's kind of what it is, you know, so that's where it comes from.
So just to clarify, if we were able then to move that front wall back to the porch, is that gonna work? I'm just trying to find out what we need to do so that this could be approved. I mean, we're just trying to get some information of what needs to be done.
Yeah, it was, for me, it kind of skipped out when your first part of that.
The front wall where the garage currently is, the part that sticks out, if we were able to push it back, we can't, if we go all the way back to the porch, we're gonna lose the gate, that other gable end. But if we were able to keep it out maybe a foot, 2 feet, where you still could have a gable, but it would not be out as many feet from the garage.
You know, there's nothing wrong with one gable and the porch being under that gable with, you know, some columns, and you've got a porch and the windows of the bedroom are same face as the door. Having the little step out gables a foot or 2 foot, it's not that doesn't. I don't know. It's just sometimes it's done. It's kind of forced on things. But a single gable that's got like 4 columns across it with the door there and the windows just like that would be, you know, we have, I think, a minimum 6 feet as far as porches go. That would be, that's where you kind of start getting to what we're talking about.
Okay, that's what we need to know, is just what needed to be done so that we don't keep doing this month after month.
And I understand, and I'm not, you asked the questions, and we were here to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing, so that's not a problem. I just, and I don't mean to sit here and lecture everybody else.
No, and then I do have a question, and this is more of information, and maybe other people might wonder this too, but I don't know if you can tell from the pictures of the property and the adjoining property. There's 2 things that I question also, is the planting of trees. There's nowhere to plant trees. That huge crepe myrtle we purposely tried to save. The trunk of it's about over 4 feet in diameter. It's got a 30-foot canopy, and it runs into the canopy of the trees on the right side of the property.
Mm-hmm.
On the left side of that crepe myrtle is where the water meter is located, which would be next to the driveway. And so you look at that, and I'm like, and where are we supposed to put 3 trees with overhead power lines?
Yeah.
So I just question that also, just kind of, you know.
Well, and that James might can address that better, in that's.
I mean, I know that's a regulation, but an ordinance. But.
Sure. James, do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I think we could consider the crepe myrtle as one. You could just vary where they go.
Okay. We went back and looked at it yesterday, and it's like by the time you put a house and you've got this crepe myrtle and the canopy of the other trees and then a water meter, and it's just like, I'm not sure where you're going to be able to put another tree.
Yeah.
We could likely even put it in the backyard.
Okay. And then I have a question about the sidewalks. I know new construction, the ordinances, you have to put a sidewalk in. There are no sidewalks on either side of the street. And again, it would be a sidewalk to nowhere. On the left-hand side, you can see a utility pole and a telephone little pole thing there. So I mean, like the sidewalk would go nowhere. And we're completely fine with paying the in lieu fee. There's no sidewalks on that entire block.
And that's
on either side.
Yeah, and that's we come across this a lot. I mean, a lot of times there's sidewalks that are all torn up because of tree roots, and that gets replaced. That's fine. Other times, just like you, there's nothing on the block, and that's more of a discussion. Well, if you're offered the chance to in lieu fees, people usually do that. I mean, that's just, you know, So
Yeah,
that's
staff
we're
would support
not
in-lieu.
of course you do a sidewalk. That's the choice is sidewalk or not. And you, again, the argument is there a lot that there's nothing there. You know, we got, like you said, sidewalks nowhere both sides. So we understand that. That's not a problem.
Staff
Okay.
James,
support
James,
in-lieu.
that should have, the in lieu of fee should have been included on number 5, correct?
Yeah, we weren't getting, I mean, that was not put on ours at all. We were told.
Yeah, gotcha.
I
Yeah.
think that was probably just a mistake, so we can change that.
Yeah, that's normal is to give you the, we're right, James, normally it's just to give them the option, right?
Yeah, I just said that basically to dictate that there's a sidewalk requirement. I mean,
Okay.
we can switch on the in lieu fees or not.
Okay, yeah, okay. Does that answer your question on that one?
Yeah, it does. It does.
So we're here to help, not to hammer you in the head.
Well, while you're here to help, I have another question about number 2.
Now we have
Only because if we go with the same house plan, I only want to have to redesign it one time and come back with it. I have a question about this whole window thing in the front, because in the right, when it was written up, it was told the windows were okay. Under facade, wall area, and rhythm, it talks about 21% windows and openings, but then says appears to be appropriate. And I know we need to add windows on the side, and we're fine with that. But in one place it says it's appropriate, and in another place it says that we don't have enough windows on the front.
Okay.
Yeah, in reviewing that, basically it was saying the way it's, if the commission were to approve it as current, I don't know where you would place more windows. If it's redesigned, then your target is 25%. And usually that's something like a vent up top or some kind of small, architectural feature that creates a void that can count as that window. Usually gets you to that 25%.
Okay.
And I'm happy to, if you want to shoot me anything, I'm happy to work with you as you'll go on a draft or something like that.
And I would encourage you to do that if you find that plan for some reason it just can't work to do the garage. The first thing is that garage, and if some reason things don't work out and you get something else that can, talk to James as soon as you can. Just get his feedback from that, and just again to keep from wheels being spinning too much.
Yeah, well, we usually buy houses and remodel them. We have a realtor that won't even walk in half of the ones that we buy. So we're used to just gutting them and starting over. We're not used to kind of building from scratch. So.
Sure. Well, welcome to the new world here. Again,
new experience here.
Well, and I hope it's everything's is makes sense and works for you, because if you do more of these in the area, you've got the hard part learned. I mean, it's it should be pretty simple. We have a set of givens like any subdivision or any place else has a set of givens you have to work into.
Yes.
Covenants and restrictions. These are ours, but if you're not aware of them, it hits you in the face if you when you want to do something that maybe you've done before. So anyway, I hope it's not too big a pain, but I think you've got some working you can do with what's there to make it work. I think you could handle it, but if not, you get something different. Let James at least have a first run through it and go from there. Okay. So how, James, would we just have the recommendations that we can vote on, and if they can make it work, fine. If not, that's a whole nother, that's a different day that we don't.
What we recommended tabling, which would have the effect of continuing the application so that they wouldn't have to re-advertise for public hearing or anything like that.
Okay.
It would just continue the application.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm sorry. Did you understand that? Mr. Anlin?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So tabling it, since again, we to vote on something yay or nay, but you got to do some major changes. That leaves a lot to be open-ended on a vote, and we wouldn't want to decline it when you could actually have changed it, but okay.
Right.
So is that all? Is that okay to table it? I'm asking you.
Yeah, we're fine with tabling it.
Okay. All right. Well, then we need to vote on that, guys. Somebody, I'm sorry, it's guys and gals, sorry.
I move that we table.
Was that Margaret?
Yes.
Okay. So I have a motion to table it.
Second.
Okay, Taylor seconds it. Motion is second for tabling. Any other discussion with that? I think pretty
Just
straightforward.
a reminder, I'm abstaining from this vote,
Okay, all right.
as I am the realtor that doesn't go and have the house.
Okay, I've noticed your little square was quiet there. Okay, all right. Well, with the motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right. So we'll see you next month. And again, I think you got some stuff to work with on this one plan. But if it doesn't work, talk to James, and we'll see you next month and maybe get this worked out.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, we are now on to, we have a rear addition at 418 Oliver. Do we have the person speaking for that present?
Yes, this is Richie Arnold.
Okay.
I live at 2605 Robinson Avenue.
All right. Tell us what you got.
Okay, this is a rent house that I own on Oliver Street. It's approximately 900 square feet, a little under that right now. And it's on a very narrow lot. The inside has a kitchen that's too small and a living area that's too small. So we decided to add on at the back and create a new master suite. It does not have a utility room in it, so the front bedroom contains the washer and dryer. So we're going to add a little utility room in that same addition, and then repurpose the interior one of the bedrooms so that we'll have a more functional kitchen and living entry area.
Okay. All right. James, and I've neglected to ask on every one of them now, except for the first one. Do we have any public input on this, James?
Negative.
Okay. Do we have any on anything before that I didn't ask on?
No.
Okay, good. I didn't miss anything. All right. I'm sorry, Mr. Arnold. Is that pretty much? We have our packet and the pictures and stuff. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Arnold? Anybody?
Seemed pretty cut and dry when I read it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. I don't, with these houses of this era and the tininess that they built into them, it can cramp you at some point, which looks like they're going to correct. So, and everything's to the back. Have you seen the recommendations that staff put down?
Yes, sir. I wanted to address number one. There is no tree that's going to be impacted. So,
okay.
But
okay.
obviously, if we do, then we'll
sure
take care of that.
Those two out front and the house itself is just a nice little picture. If the house was a little cleaned up, but otherwise.
Well, and we do plan, of course, to repaint the entire structure, and probably, depending on budget, we're probably going to just re-roof the whole thing too to make it uniform.
Okay.
So I noticed in there he said it had vinyl siding. I think it's actually an aluminum siding, but we're fine with using the wood or the hardy product on the addition.
Okay, on the for siding.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, we appreciate that. Okay. There's not much meat to this, especially if you're not doing taking any trees out. That's easy. The windows, just some 1/1 windows are fine. We don't have to go to the divided light stuff if you don't want to. And then the HVAC equipment, if you have any new that gets placed on the ground, just not visible from the street. That's pretty standard stuff.
Yeah, we are going to have to relocate the condensing unit, but it's going to be at the very rear of the addition. So
okay. Well, again, that number 4, it says equipment be placed in a manner to minimize its visibility from the street. That's if it's behind the house, fine, a little fence, whatever. Just as long as you keep it out of sight, and it sounds like it will be if you go to the back, so that shouldn't be a problem. Okay. All right. Anybody else have any questions or anything? I think, like I said, it is pretty straightforward. Anybody?
I'll motion to approve with recommendations.
Thank you. All right. We have a motion for approval.
Second.
All right. That was Liz, correct?
Emily.
Emily, I'm sorry. I thought my little thing popped up funny. Okay, so motion is second. Any other discussion? Nobody? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, COA will be available tomorrow, as early as tomorrow, and then permit can come after that once you get that. So, thank you much. Okay. Let's see. Now we got exterior modifications to 511 First Street. I think I saw Colby's name up on our thing a while ago. We have a Mr. Kingard. Is it?
Yes, that's me.
Okay. All right. If you give us your name and where you live, we'll get going.
My name is Colby Kingard, and I live at 11 4th Street, Greenbrier.
Okay.
So this is my first rodeo, so forgive me, but I know my illustrations here look like child's drawings compared to the other ones that have come up. But basically, what we're looking to do, if you look at you can see it better in the pictures for sure. But over the porch, there is a metal awning that's pretty rusted, and we're looking to replace that with, right there. Looking to replace that with basically an extension of the roof. Already looking to replace the roof, new shingles, and have the same material that will be on the roof to extend out over the porch, similar to the house on the bottom left picture there, or similar to the house on the bottom right, as those are both right next door, but they serve as pretty good illustrations for what we were wanting to do. Along with that, the supports that would hold it up, they we'll take whatever y'all would want to approve. We'd be happy with any of it. We had proposed maybe some kind of wood, but if it needs to be more like those next door, then that's completely fine.
Now, have you seen the recommendations?
Yes. It said wood, but I just wanted to bring it up now that we're not saying it. We need it to be wood by any means. So right. if that was something that y'all would prefer, if it wasn't wood, then it's fine. Whatever works. Basically, just whatever will get rid of that metal that's there now.
That'd be a sledgehammer, but anyway.
Yeah, right. And then the other thing is the front windows there. So you can see the two short windows that are up high on the front. I did provide some pictures. I don't think they're in this document, but the spacing for the windows is already there on the interior of the house, and I did provide measurements of that. But we're just looking to enlarge those windows back to the size that at some point in time they used to be.
I was going to say, so they infilled those windows and then kept the air conditioner in the wall.
Yes, and we would like to get both of those front windows larger,
like they should.
Yeah, just you can tell from the inside that they used to be large, and then someone made them small at some point in time.
Okay.
So we just want to return them to the way they were. And I did not include this in anything, but I guess since we're here, if it would be possible, that window in the top right picture, the leftmost window, on the side of the house, yes, if we could do the same thing with that one as well, because that has the exact same measurements of the space as the front two already there.
It looks like they made a bunker out of a cute little bungalow at some point.
Yeah, there's almost no daylight that gets in that house.
Yeah, that's again, I don't, that's appropriate, I think, to add it to the list of things you want to do there. We can talk about it, but okay, is that, you got more that you want to do, or does that cover it?
No, that's pretty much it. That you can see that window right there in the middle on the side. That one was left alone. So okay. They would look similar in size to that one, or larger if possible, but would be perfectly fine with just taking that size.
Okay, and that's fine. We'll start. We'll talk. I'll have questions or comments. It looks to me like the what was there more than likely were at all those three openings where there's little ones were a pair of double hungs, just like the one back there up towards the back. A pair of like probably 32-inch wide double hung windows right next to each other. That's just, or maybe even wider. I don't know, that those front ones look like it might have been a little bit wider, but that to me is what that would be appropriate to put back in there, to something similar to the one there towards the back.
Yeah, as opposed to the drawings that I sent in, I mean, whatever type of window we're allowed to put there, we will happily put there. We just want bigger windows. That's really it.
Well, what we have on number 3 on the recommendations is saying new windows at the front of the house, and in turn that one around the side should be material compatible with those traditionally found in the old Conway, which are typically a form of double hung sash.
Yes.
So that's if we get double hung and James, you can, if you want to explain the materials that are allowed, that would probably cover him on windows with everybody's approval.
These the only 3 small windows on the house, Colby?
No. So on the top right picture, towards the back of the house, there's another one you can kind of see back there. I didn't ask for that one just because it's not easy to see from the street. But that is another one. And then on the opposite side of the house, there are 1, 2, 3 more, but they are on the outside of those windows is a shed that completely blocks them from any sort of view.
Oh, okay. Let me just, for your, since it's not your first rodeo, which you can't say that after tonight, but going back to what was there in some kind, like was what you're looking at doing, we like that. So you're not, if there were windows that were shortened and you're wanting to take them back, if there were 3 or 12, that's what we want to entertain. So don't feel like you don't want to ask for that one, because it's more, if there's windows you can add to, you can take back to the original size, that's something that we actually want to happen.
Okay.
So we're change period. We're not opposed to. It's that appropriate change or inappropriate change, and taking a house that's been made into a little slit-eyed bunker back to windows that bring light in and make it look like from the street what it's looked like when it was built. That's we're happy with that, and I'm speaking, but I think I speak for everybody that's here and James too. So. So you're doing a good thing. Don't worry about that at all.
So with that said, Colby, did you want to ask for that 4th one on the same, or you really just plan on doing 3?
Well, really, that just came down to the cost and if it was going to be required of me to do all of them.
Yeah, it's not required. We'd be happy to say good job on all 4 of them. But if you just do cost wise and what you see from the street, do those 3. That's fine.
Yeah, I'd love to do all of them. It just depends on what the budget will allow.
Sure. Well,
but for sure with the front 2, without a doubt.
Okay.
Could we go ahead and change your recommendation that he's allowed to do them all, so he didn't have to come back? Or does it matter?
Yeah, that would be prudent.
I think it would be. I think if you give him permission to, you may 6 months down the road after you're done, go, we need to add that another window where those little ones are, and go back to what you had and do it. We don't want to. You don't need to come back to see us for that.
Right.
So I guess whoever makes the motion, maybe word it in a way that windows that were previously tall that have been made short can be made tall again. I'm being very generic there, but James, if there's something you want to, how you might want to word it. Appropriately from staff, go for it.
Allow window replacements. 1 over 1.
Oh, it's that easy. Okay. Okay. I was trying to make it deep and cerebral, but okay. So did you have any other? We got the porch. We know we're gonna take the awning piece off, and I think I don't know if you saw that the other recommendation was that option 1 of your lovingly drawn elevation.
Thank you.
That number 1 is what the recommendation is used. So because we keep that little porch, that little stoop cover there on the front, and then you coming out to the face of it with your roof extension. I think that would finish that off nicely with some wood columns. I think that's where they're wanting to go. So if you're okay with that one, no argument there. And then we got the comment about the windows, the columns. Does that cover what you're wanting to do?
Yes, it does. I prefer option one because it saves me money anyway.
True. That's true. That's true. Okay. So any other comments from you, Colby?
I guess one question, is there any sort of, you can tell from the front picture, is there any sort of recommendations or requirements of me just to clean up that front yard? See those two bushes there in front of the house, and then there's another bush kind of on the top right picture. There's another bush right there in the middle. Would I be allowed to just get rid of one or some of those if I felt like it was, like, you can see in the top left one too, that bush that's there in the middle.
James, you want to answer that as far as just landscaping? What we could, I mean, I don't, trees are what we really kind of key on.
We're mainly focused on trees, so obviously don't cut down the big tree that's in the front yard.
Right.
Type of bushes you want to plant, that's great.
Yeah, if you want to take some out, put some in. That's like, we don't dictate color, and we don't really go crazy about the landscaping in that at that level. Trees, we do get particular about.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to get rid of that front yard tree, but I didn't, I have no plans to do that. So
You just don't say stuff like that.
Yeah.
That did not sound very good. With that said, I'll forget you said that. Anybody else have any questions for Colby?
I will say I have to abstain from this one as well because he's a coworker with me.
Okay.
This will be a huge improvement to that house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be, when you go from the split windows that were horribly, done, and go to what would have been there, it did the house will just, be smiling again. So that's going to be good. Okay. With that, do we have any opinion, motion?
I'm going to motion to approve with staff recommendations with the addition of a recommendation to allow window replacements as appropriate.
Okay. All right. Everybody hear that?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, Taylor seconds. Any other discussion? With that, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good. Well, Kobe, your first one was a success.
all right.
So you did good. You did good. So don't worry next time. Okay. All right. Well, thank you much, sir, and good luck with that. And I think with that, unless we have other things to discuss, James, you tell us, where's James?
Hey,
Oh, there you are. I didn't see you. Okay.
just wanted to share with y'all real briefly that we closed the RFQ on the African American History Context. We received two proposers, which would be McDo Preservation and Historical Research Associates. Our chair and vice chair, along with staff, will be on a committee for evaluation, but then we'll be reporting back on that selection and taking it to city council. But both, I think, are extremely qualified proposers, and so I think we'll do well. I will email some information out to y'all pretty soon to get feedback about the tiny toads. Liz says she can't contribute verbally. But the tiny toads locations for the public art, I will be sending out those locations to you for some feedback. And if y'all have any recommendations on locations, let me know. But that's all I have.
How's the survey? How's the resurveying going with Tony?
So I think she started on the toads first, and then she'll be moving into that.
Okay. Is there anything that we need to do for that, or is that really why we hire her and she just kind of handles it all?
We just provide feedback, and then she kind of runs with it. So
Okay.
I apologize. Tomorrow's the first day of in-person classes here for my kids, and so we're doing bedtime early. So going in the background.
We all need an early bedtime.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else have anything? Are we good? We're getting better at the virtual thing. I'd rather be in person, but it's becoming normal, unfortunately. But All right. Well, everybody, again, thanks for everything. We need to get David Carolina plugged in if we can sometime, but
Yes.
that's just saying. All right. Well, y'all take care, and we will. I'm getting the signal from the French door over here. It's time to quit. Y'all take care. Well, I guess we need a motion for adjournment.
Yeah, I'll motion to adjourn.
You just tell me to shut up, and I will.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Liz, good to see you. Gotta go. We'll see y'all later.
All right, bye.
Bye.